Okay, guys, so today we're going to be talking about Percy Jackson. Oh my gosh, do I love these books. I don't even know how to express how much I love these books. Percy is sassy in the best way possible, and I love it. Also, all of these reviews will be filled with spoilers. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to talk in detail as much as I want about the books that I love or that I don't love. But this one, particularly Percy Jackson, is one that I love. The Lightning Thief is a great beginning to a fantastic story. Percy is this sort of character that I feel like a lot of us would be, where all of a sudden we're thrown into this magical world and we're just like, what? Like, no, this can't be actually happening. And he's super sarcastic and funny, and he just wants things to be fair, and most of the time they're not fair to him. I mean, the story starts off with the fact that he's a nice kid, he makes friends with those that don't have friends, and he stands up for those who are being bullied, and it just starts off with this kid's being bullied, and then all of a sudden I kill my math teacher with a pen that turns into a sword. Like, how do you even get better than that beginning? Not to mention the fact that it's written in first person, and each individual chapter is just like the weirdest titles, but like in the best way. Like, chapter 2 is 3 old ladies knit the socks of death. Like, what? But like, great. And chapter 1 is I accidentally vaporized my pre-algebra teacher. Again, what? But like the best way possible. So we figure out, Percy kills his pre-algebra teacher on accident, and then we figure he goes home and he ditches his friend, and he heads out for a vacation with his mom, and as they're there, his friend, who ends up being a satyr, who for some reason I am blanking on his name, which is terrible because he's a wonderful character. Grover. Ugh, thank you. Book that I'm holding. But so he ditches out on Grover, who's supposed to be there to protect him, and then in the process of finding out that he is a demigod, or a half-blood, as they say in the books, they're attacked by the Minotaur. He watches what he thinks is his mother die, and then he gets thrown into this magical camp where they're supposed to teach him how to be able to live life as a half-blood. And he's like, I'd rather not. The only thing he really cares about is getting his mom back, which I feel is very relatable. I think a lot of us in that situation would feel the same way. But instead of being able to do that, he's now stuck at this camp full of people that know so much more about this world that he suddenly entered than he does, and he's very much a fish out of water, and he just has to learn how to deal with it. And it's hard and frustrating, and he does it in his own personal way, in his own personal style, and he never really bends from being who he is. He doesn't try and cave who he is to be like different people. And the most exciting thing, I think, is the fact that it really takes a while before you figure out that he is the son of Poseidon. Like, it's a significant bit into the book before you find out. I mean, I say significant, but it's in the first, quarter of the book or so, but it's a really big deal, and it's not something that everyone is super excited for. They all basically are like, oh, this is not a good thing. And then he's isolated all over. The moment he thinks he's finding a place that he could actually fit in, he's isolated again. And I think that's something that a lot of people relate to. Feeling like you're finding a place you can fit in, and then all of a sudden life changes again and you don't fit in anymore. And it's just great. And that's only the very beginning, and it just gets better as it goes along. Eventually he gets a quest where he gets to go and basically the plot of the story is that Zeus is mad because he thinks Percy stole his lightning bolt, and Poseidon is mad because he's like, how dare you insult my kid that way, and Percy's like, leave me out of this. But instead he ends up getting a quest where he has to go find the lightning bolt. And so he goes on this quest, and they have to go through a bunch of obstacles. They fight Medusa, they get stuck in a hotel, they go to the underworld. It's a lot of things, and then it all comes to the end of figuring out that all along he'd been given the lightning bolt by Ares, the god of war, who was being tricked to try and start a war between the big three, as they call them, so Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon, by Kronos, the Titan, who is those guys' father, because he wants to come back and rule the world. And so at the very end, Percy's like, I'm not cool with this, and he fights Ares, the god of war. He's just tired of being manipulated. He's tired of being pushed around, and so he goes and he defends himself, and against someone who arguably is much stronger than him. And when I say arguably, I mean he is much stronger than him. And he ends up winning. And so he's able to get back and return the lightning bolt, and appeases that, but then you find out that the gods don't want to talk about the fact that Cronus set this up. They just kind of want to ignore it. And Percy's like, okay, crazy. And everyone's telling him that he has these great expectations, and he's supposed to do something amazing and wonderful, and he just wants to be Percy. He doesn't want to be destined to do something great. He doesn't want to have to be part of this grand plan. He just wants to be who he is. And I just think it's really wonderful that we have such a character who feels so authentic. And every character in this book feels that way. Each character has their own personality, their own worries, their own troubles, and they all relate to each other, and they all help each other, and it's a great read. I really recommend reading it. I recommend reading all of the Percy Jackson books. They're amazing, and I honestly don't have a lot of criticism for it. That's saying something, because I have criticism for a lot of things, but these particular books I felt are really well planned, and I really like the fact that each of the main characters, all of the demigods, they have ADHD and dyslexia, and it just gives that little extra, I don't want to say sense of reality, but it makes the characters more sympathetic. It makes it so that you understand and see how they struggle, and yet they never let that hold them back. And I just think that's a wonderful thing. This book is kind of inspiring, but it's a really fun, easy read. If you're an adult, I did not actually read them as a child, so I don't remember or know how easy of a read it would be at the reading level that it's actually written for. It's definitely young adult fiction. These books definitely grow up with the readers, so the first book is definitely geared more towards kind of 12-year-olds, and then each book as you progress gets a little bit geared towards an older age, which is great. I love when authors do that because they understand their fan base. So overall, get the book. Seriously, get the book. If you're gonna buy the book, I would recommend supporting a local bookstore, but if you can't, there will be a link in the description below that links to Amazon where you can get the whole set. So I hope you go and read this book because it's amazing. But yeah, so that is my rant about Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief.